Welcome back to our coverage of the European Challenger Series, where Game 2 between Team Kinguin and Paris Saint-Germain is about to get underway. My name is Aaron Medic Chamberlain. I'm joined by James Stress O'Leary, who's probably going to mock me for my pronunciation of Paris Saint-Germain there. It was a little bit over-enthusiastic, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm deciding whether I should mock you about that or the fact that England are currently losing to Italy. In
Are
the
we
rugby.
actually losing?
But let's get on with this game, because we just had a great game with PSG.
I can't check
PSG. Okay, right.
Okay.
Let's focus in on that. Sorry, you got so many last time that
What was Wales' result yesterday? Did they lose? Anyway, yeah, let's get straight into the game, because Paris Saint-Germain versus Kinguin. Paris Saint-Germain, with that, actually now have 2 points at minimum in the league. If they win 2-0, they go up to 4, and that's great for them, which is really important. But Kinguin's still looking for that extra point. You can see in my face, I want to check the rugby scores, but it doesn't matter. Let's talk about that game, because Paris Saint-Germain didn't even get to late game because of how well they played that early game.
The Baron decision was good from PSG. The early game, okay, they didn't necessarily have a composition built around it, but as soon as they got to the point where Azir had some damage, the Nautilus had good TP positioning, and Jin had like Ghost Blade and most of Edge of Night, they were in a position to just kind of take fights and very easily deal with Kinguin. Now, on the other side, I want to see Kinguin change up their draft. Like, please don't pick a farming jungler, a mid laner that needs like 3 items, and a top lane that does nothing. You will lose the draft if you do that. And they did that phase 1.
It was odd to me as well, because Ice Beasto is so well known for his aggressive top laners. I know Fnatic Academy deliberately tried to ban out a lot of them, but Rumble was still on the cards if they'd wanted it. You could have gone for something with a little bit more early to mid impact rather than the Maokai, especially so early on in the draft, which really telegraphs what you're going to do as a team.
It was first rotation Maokai, which I understand. Okay, in that game we had Shen banned, we had Jace banned, Camille banned, all from PSG. But come on, first picking Maokai when there are other lanes available, like other, counters into it, the Rumble, whether we're playing that or, there's other matchups we've seen, like hell, even Kick is playing the Echo from times gone by. So just a really, really strange draft out of Kinguin that I want to see them adjust. I like Nami Caitlyn. I thought that was fine. I thought that actually could have been enough if they'd have been making plays on bot side. But again and again today, we've been seeing top side plays rather than bot side.
Well, bot side just seems to come down to pushing lane, who can push the lane better, who can get a little bit of a CS lead, rather than any lane which we're really going to see dominance in, mostly because of the supports. Lots of safe supports being picked, Lulu, Karma, Nami on the cards for a lot of people. We are into picks and bans. Kinguin, take away the LeBlanc straight away. Didn't ban that until second rotation last time.
And that's the most interesting thing, is this pick has gone from first rotation, from second phase priority up to first priority in the draft to be banned away. Very interesting move on that. I mean, yes, PSG would have had 2 picks if they wanted that LeBlanc to come through. Malzahar Shen off the board as well. Camille Rengar likely to join the fray when it comes to the bans.
Varus as well there as a possibility. So now, the question is, do PSG stick with that top lane strategy with their bans, or do they say White Knight had a pretty good time anyway? Well,
I think that for the first picks of this draft, I think Kinguin can very easily ban Varus here and first pick the Jhin, because it's worked for Woolite. However, it's going to be the Rengar that they take away.
I expect a Jace ban here from PSG if they're going to focus, and then you get Varus open, and then you can take the Jhin away if you want to. Pilot seems a little bit more comfortable on the Jhin than the Varus to me, and it seems to work more with what PSG tend to want to do as a team.
That's fair. And yeah, there is the Jace ban. Great prediction. The other option now, if Kinguin go elsewhere on this pick, what have we got available for the top lane or anything else? Kinguin rush for the Varus. They want it for themselves. Despite Jace being a good pick for Woolite and Pilot, they will aim for that Varus first. So now it's going to be Jace.
Jhin.
I always say Jace. Jhin can be in first rotation. What else we got? Kha'Zix available in the jungle.
I think Kha'Zix is a very strong pick here. Graves still up for Tabasco if he wants to take that, though. We have seen some good Graves. Pride Stalker a week ago really springs to mind. So Jhin, maybe Lulu, just because there's been a lot of priority on it, and it works well with most compositions.
You could very well see a high priority Lulu here. Looking at other picks, Karma is available if you are looking for a support that isn't Lulu, but we have seen a bit of a drop-off.
Yeah, Karma seems to fall below Lulu in the terms of who is stronger now. It is going to be the Kha'Zix, we think, from what you were talking about earlier. Strong jungler, Tabasco can go Graves here, and you expect it to be taken on this rotation, so it's not banned out.
Kinguin, will they just go the Maokai here? I hope not. I hope they don't go Maokai Graves here. because I think it gives away so much pace. I think with the Varus, it's okay. With the Varus, it's not too bad as last time where they picked a Rise alongside it. This is a better decision, I think, actually getting the Lulu here. Now I don't mind it so much.
Okay.
Because Varus Lulu is going to push very heavily.
I just
will give you an advantage.
I love it when a color caster says, I hope they don't do this, and then immediately they lock it in. It's like...
Right, and the quantifier of that is that last draft it was very bad. Now, actually, I prefer this. Pushing power in the bot lane. You've got Maokai. Theoretically, you can now ban out his bad matchups unless PSG lock a Rumble or something here. They don't go for top lane. Now Kinguin can punish PSG for not locking a top laner this early on.
Totally agree, and you put White Knight onto lower down in his pool. Probably Nautilus Rumble ban is what you're looking at here because of how well White Knight played the Nautilus last game. And then PSG will really be working out exactly where they want to take that top lane role.
But now PSG can look to ban out the mid lane as one role. Now that they've got the Corki, probably Syndra will come through here, banning away from Sebex. For Kinguin, take away Tahm Kench is a big pick here. Likely that alongside the Karma is another option, could go alongside Jhin. There are a few bans available. We already talked about how top lane may be where they want to go.
I think there's a lot of options here for Kinguin if they want to try and close in on that support pool, but there's probably too many options for them to completely lock it out. So they've decided instead to go top, where they think they can get a much more beneficial matchup. The Ivern ban and no Graves ban is a little bit odd to me. PSG saying that they would much prefer Kinguin to take that Graves alongside this composition.
Which I actually agree with, if I'm honest.
Yep.
Ivern can have a so much bigger impact, so much easier than Graves. And look at you on fire with your Nautilus, your Rumble,
as if
your
I do
matchups
research
into Maokai. Got him already. I don't even have to do anything here. So what's first pick? What's the next pick?
Thresh, I think, probably
Thresh.
here for Spazzle. It was hovered by the time I said that. I don't know if you saw. I'm not going to be.
I saw a little bit. I nearly was like, ooh.
Kinguin go probably Graves here, in all honesty, as their jungler, and then mid lane. You're looking at lower down in the pool, but Syndra's still up.
Syndra's up. Syndra's up if they want it. I mean, other matchups into Corki, you got the Orianna if you want it. There's a couple of matchups that are good. So there is the Syndra. And you're talking about Graves. Lee Sin if they want early game against.
Tabasco.
Yep. If they want early game, he's looked a lot better on that Lee Sin
that he has.
Anything else. So now, what is it for White Knight? Where are we going? Is it? I was gonna say, is it Nautilus Spit's banned?
Yeah,
Poppy,
you fall
maybe.
Poppy as possible into the Maokai.
Trundle, if you really want a counter matchup.
I think you would need a little bit more of a tank line though, because the Thresh would probably go Redemption into Locket of the Iron Solari build.
That's true.
Which is what we tend to see. Gragas is the pick, so still a tank, but a little bit unconventional.
Okay, so we've started to see this more and more. Saw it once or twice in LCS. Saw it a whole bunch out of Satoria's last year in Challenger, and of course we saw. I think Kinguin actually struggled. No, Kinguin played it against Millennium. That was it.
We saw it in IEM as well.
Yeah, we have. We've seen it a bunch of times. Good engage potential comes out of Gragas. Surprising amount of wave clear as well from the explosive cask that comes out. So, or from the barrel roll, if you'll excuse me. So PSG, good engage options. A little bit pick-oriented again when you look at it. Like Thresh, Jhin, Kha'Zix is a good way of like setting up pick. They have a little more engaged this time than the last one.
I really like that isolation as well. With the explosive cast, with the Kha'Zix, if you do get one person caught out, you can Valkyrie onto them, you can use the package to get around the map. I really like that PSG composition. However, Kinguin, we always talk about that early game, and they've got the Lee Sin for Tabasco.
And that's what I was going to say, is we criticized their last draft for being so late game focused later on. Well, Lee Sin, Syndra, Varus, Lulu, that seems pretty strong when you look at early game pushing and ability to snowball. To me, I actually prefer this draft a lot more than game one out of Kinguin.
This draft feels a lot more standard for the meta at the moment.
Exactly.
There's no Azir picks, there's no off-the-wall picks. But if you guys have a thought or a say about how you think this game's going to end up, make sure you tweet at us with the hashtag EUCS. If you think Kinguin are going to tie up the series, hashtag KGN win. And if you think Paris Saint-Germain are going to get their first 2-0 of the split, hashtag PSG win.
Sometimes I have a thought. Just one.
Just one. Just one. Was that it?
One about
that your
game.
one
that
thought?
Was it for today. Yep, that was everything.
Shower thoughts with stress.
We'll see if don't go there. We'll see whether PSG can get a second win. It will be their first 2-0 of the spring split.
It will only be their third win of the spring split.
They will have quadrupled their points if they win 2-0.
That they were.
Whew. That's a spicy prospect. Whereas Kinguin, after Fnatic Academy got shut out in the first series to a 1-1 draw, we were thinking that's what Kinguin needed, was like a 3-point lead here would separate them from the pack. It would be really solid situation for them to be in. But unfortunately, game 1 did not go in the way of Kinguin.
No, it didn't, not at all. And PSG here will be hoping not to match up with their father team, the football team, who drew earlier on this week. They'll be hoping to take that 2-0. If they can do that, it really puts them in contention for the playoffs, especially with that draw earlier on. That makes it a lot easier for them to get through to the playoffs. And perhaps they're peaking at exactly the right time. I'm sure they would have wanted to peak earlier on in the split,
yeah.
but now, like we talked about the pick composition coming out from PSG, and it is very pick orientated, but that worked out so well for them game 1. I guess their argument would be, why change something that worked out so well?
That's fair. It worked out well once they got past like 13-minute mark, and I think there were options for Kinguin before then to do some work. So here's a reason why we're going to see a little bit of Thresh into Lulu. In the laning phase, Lulu obviously doesn't really have a lot of sustain. Shield-based champions can be punished around cooldowns. The problem is, you're now playing Thresh into Lulu Varus, and look at the trading damage that comes out in response.
It's such a difficult matchup for the Thresh in this sort of early game portion, especially level 1, when you've got the piercing arrow, when you've got the picks auto attacks coming out from D-Lord, and he's using the help pick shield as an aggressive damage dealing source as well.
Especially when all you have is Flay. It's the hook that you're relying on. You hook out Lulu, you deal half her health in damage, and suddenly one more hook basically wins the lane because you've got summoner spells from her already. So that's what PSG are wanting from this bot lane, and finally they're starting to have a little bit of presence now that they know that hook is available.
And the first game was all about top lane. In fact, a lot of the games today have been about top lane in the early portion. This game is going to be all about this bottom lane. We've already seen Kyrie pathing down towards the bottom side. Tabasco there as well, spotted out as he walks across. He's going to take the Scuttle Crab, so both the junglers realize bottom and mid is really where it's at.
When Sprattel came into the LCS a long time ago, all the way back on Elements, he had a couple of Thresh games went his way and started to look at a little more convincing, but you can see Pilot's getting punished here. Of course, played a lot of Alistair alongside that as well.
The good thing for Pilot is because of lethality, he can go longsword pots to start off, which keeps his sustain in lane a little bit easier. He'll be looking for a serrated Dirk back timing and then get another couple of potions underneath his belt so he can come back into this lane. But it is a heavy harass lane for the Jhin Thresh, and they expect to get pushed in time and time again.
Yeah, they will do as well, but top lane is where we've got to look around because that's where junglers are starting to head. Tabasco realizes that that Rift Scuttler has already been taken, so the Vision has spotted him out, and he thinks he's unspotted, but actually was on a ward, so they do know Tabasco was on top side.
But they know as well Kinguin know as well Kyrie's over there because they see the Scuttle Crab go down, and they knew it was over towards the bottom side a while ago. So both junglers being tracked. A lot of this as well, it's when you come into it from a sort of a lower tier perspective, you think, oh, how are they tracking them? How do they know where they are? Well, these guys will be intuitively deducing things from the positions they see on the map and what's been taken recently and what camps are up. They'll know timings, they'll know jungle paths, and they'll say, oh, we see Scuttle Crabs down. Couldn't have been bot, must have been top side. So now they'll play a little bit safer around that top lane.
Yeah, a bit safer around top indeed. And looking at top lane, White Knight just TP'd back into lane with a Dark Seal and no Corrupting Potion. Of course, he does have 2 regular potions, but normally we see that paired together. So indicating that perhaps he will recall later on. Just wants double Dorans to be able to trade. Of course, that Dark Seal will extend the the potions.
Yeah, it gives you 25% extra healing from those potions, but
extra healing.
Or increased healing technically, but it's not really that impactful. It's a build we see a lot on Singed, is the triple Doran, triple Dark Seal, alongside a Corrupting Potion just to keep yourself sustaining up. But it doesn't buff the heal from his passive, no Happy Hour heal. Doesn't buff any of the other healing he may have.
The thing is, he had to. Oh, hang on, Kyrie and Tabasco. Sorry, just one of those things where you see them
you flick to it so quickly, and it's like, actually, they've used all their cooldowns already, so.
Yeah, White Knight TP'd back up to top lane, though. That's the important thing. And Ice Beasto has used all his potion charges and hasn't recalled, so we'll see whether he ends up backing away, because now White Knight's shoving him in, has the better trading potential.
That's the power of the double Dorans as well. You talked about his lane push with the barrel roll. With the double Dorans makes it even easier just to push up that lane, and you get AoE damage from the Drunken Rage auto attack as well. Now hit 6, Ice Beasto down to half HP, and if the junglers are parked up here, we might see a fight, but White Knight's probably just going to push it in and try and deny Ice Beasto some of this farm underneath the tower. Yeah,
that's all it's going to be. White Knight, I doubt, will go all in. Oh, we got him!
Oh, that was beautiful!
I was going to say, would doubt he's going all in.
Gets caught out though. Exhaust, unleash power. Sebix will take him down. A bit more talking for that second kill, but White Knight, that was pucker. That was crisp.
Oh, Kinguin answer it in mid lane. Didn't quite get the opportune first blood. I was looking at that thinking White Knight, okay, it's a little difficult if Ice Beasto gets the auto attack off. If he gets the passive, maybe Ice Beasto can survive through, but he wasn't level 6. Didn't have his ultimate available. I don't believe he got the auto attack off. And it was pretty beautiful timing on the explosive cask into the barrel roll, into the body slam flash.
It was a max damage barrel as well, which is why it was so beautiful. But again, a bit of greed from Ice Beasto, staying around when he was half HP. A lot of to be there. Spraddle and Pilot getting poked out by these piercing arrows down towards the bottom side. They're a little bit behind on CS. Hook's not going to connect. And PSG, they do get first blood, which is great, but let's have another look.
Here we go.
This is, this makes me so happy.
Is it a charged barrel? Oh, that's beautiful.
He can't
with
even
the body slam flash over.
Oh, White Knight, you absolute beauty.
That was beautiful. Like that actually.
And then this was really great reactions by Kinguin as well, because you have to make a play when you see that happen.
That's a highlight play for White Knight.
2 games in, he's made a highlight play. Kyrie, again, going low to his jungle will be okay, but we've seen this quite a lot from Kha'Zix in particular. Tend to go quite low on their jungle clears, and I'm surprised a little, like we don't see as much counter jungling from Tabasco as perhaps he would have been doing in the first couple of weeks. He seems a little bit less confident in his own skills at the moment.
The problem with that though for him is topside has been fairly difficult for him to get into the jungle because Ice Beasto is losing this lane to White Knight. This is not a lane matchup that should be this heavily dominated by a Gragas. That was purely White Knight outplaying Ice Beasto and Ice Beasto not recognizing it.
That's why he got the Dark Seal.
Yeah,
he knew he was getting those 2 stacks.
He knew he wanted the kills. I really did not expect White Knight to go all in. Like, I thought...
Nor did Ice Beasto, nor did I.
No, neither did Ice Beasto.
The element of surprise, sometimes that belly can pack a pretty punch from White Knight, and now he's about 20 CS ahead of Ice Beasto, winning this lane, even though he's getting pushed in. Ice Beasto, however, late game will still become this unkillable tank Maokai that we always see later on, and White Knight, he did go double Dorans, so he's going to take a little bit longer to get towards those later item spikes.
Kinguin are trying to make a play on bot side, but they've just walked over a ward about 4 times, so they know that they can't really do it. TP available for both top laners, but White Knight, he is ahead in this matchup, and what a way to do it. Looking very, very flashy in the meantime. Bot lane though, Woolite, look at how far ahead they are. Varus Lulu has been pushing non-stop. They've got a good control ward in behind them. This is what we were talking about in game 1, where just to the bottom side of the screen, just out of view, there's a control ward to stop them. But Kira has just walked right over a ward.
That's spot him out. That's nicely done by Blank, just to make sure that his jungler wasn't walking into bad positions. Although we say White Knight's ahead, yes, he's doing a great job in the top lane. Mid lane is in favor of Sebix. He's 10 CS up or so. Bot lane, Woolite is 14 CS, 13 CS up. And PSG across the rest of the map aren't having the best of times. Blank getting caught out slightly, but not going to get taken down.
And this Corki, they're still waiting for him to come online, really. He does, obviously, later on in the game, have that utility with the package. He actually has the package right now and is utilizing it to try and get
out of base,
back
mate. Gotta get out
to
of base.
Yeah.
He's got blue buff as well, so it won't really matter too much. Comes up again in about 4 minutes' time, so he'll be happy enough to use it. It looked like perhaps they were setting up around mid lane to do something, but for now, PSG seem to be comfortable just waiting out a little bit longer and allowing this game to develop. The spikes are what they're waiting for. You know, you're looking for Yumu's on Pilot, Edge of Night on him as well. You're looking for the Trinity Force on Blank. You're looking for a couple of items on White Knight as well.
And of course, that Trinity Force has been delayed. The necessity of getting a Hex Drinker. I was going to say Hex at Gunblade, but that's what you'll get later. Hex Drinker early on to survive through that ultimate, of course, from Sebex. Now Blank wants to try and roam down. They did spot him out on that blue trinket.
Doing this without the package as well. He's going to blast Cone across, and they're just going to go in for it. Sprattle making it very clear and obvious what his team wanted to do. When a Thresh walks up to you like that, pretty darn clear that he's going for a hook. Yeah,
and when a Thresh loses half of his health walking up to you like that, it's pretty clear that PSG, they are not going to make that play anymore. Now they back away. Nice adaptation out of Sevex. Blue Trinket fairly early on was the thing that spotted out Blank and gave Kinguin the knowledge that they were looking for bottom lane. White Knight is pushing out top, and again, Ice Beast still holds his TP.
Good jump away by Kairi to keep himself alive. Pretty safe play by both of these junglers thus far. Tabasco the only one really to have that influence with the mid lane kill. White Knight now able to roam, doesn't get the control ward. Another one came down across the map, and now we see Sprattle coming up towards the river as well to try and just gain vision around this dragon and help Kairi out. Kinguin know they can't play the 3v2, and so they'll have to succeed on that vision.
It's a better job from Kinguin early on though. Decent leads in mid and bot lane. They are a little behind on the game itself, mainly because of that first blood gold going over onto top side, and there is a lead for White Knight still up there. But considering how quickly Kinguin lost game 1 after falling behind, this is a more steady approach.
Still got 40 seconds, Stress. It's not the 13-minute mark yet.
That's true. We'll see whether the 13 mark is
unlucky for some.
Unlucky for Kinguin.
I think there's both the compositions have a very set playstyle. Kinguin will be looking much more towards fighting later on. You know, Syndra and Varus do so much damage when you come up towards those more group team fights and when you're poking people underneath the turret. You've got the Maokai as the tank. And then PSG, much more pick orientated, will be waiting to play around objectives and try and catch people out with their superior vision control. But thus far, apart from really that first kill in the top lane and the kill in the mid lane, we haven't really seen anyone overstep. No. Which means that it's a lot easier for both the teams just to play pretty passive and safe.
Easier for the teams to play passive, but harder for Sprattle to get any hooks. Bot lane hasn't really seen much action at all. Nice little dodge out on the body slam.
That's one of the things with Maokai as well. Like, you can do this against Nautilus. When he riptides, you dodge it with your Twisted Advance, which mitigates a lot of his damage. So Maokai is one of those top laners who can win, or at least stay even in a lot of matchups against fellow tanks.
Yeah, he generally is and has a significant impact through damage reduction and crowd control in fights. That's the one of the real areas that Maokai excels. Is he's not just a tank to be a frontline. He actually assists the team in significant ways outside of that. Gragas doesn't do the same job, but as an engage tool is a magnificent tool if you can land that explosive cask onto a squishy target, get them out from their team. It's a lot more reliant on a flank or a body slam flash, that type of play.
However, we are starting to see Edge of Night. We see a lot of it anyway, and Varus is probably going to build it. Tabasco could argue towards building it as well, although he has Safeguard to get himself out if he's ever caught away. I wonder how explosive that cask is going to be later on, if it's going into all these spell shoots, probably Banshees, probably Edge of Night coming across from Kinguin.
It's difficult to get the cask in that setup, but there is still that 20-second window where if Woolite isn't respecting the engage potential coming from PSG, it's very possible that he could get picked off. So package number 2 comes out. Where's it going? Is it just going to be mid lane again?
I think the thing about packages, when we used to see Twisted Fate a lot, we'd say, you know, he's got to do something with Destiny. The first 2 Destinies are the most important. If you don't do anything with those, you can't impact the game for the rest of it. But Corki with the package isn't quite in the same boat. It doesn't, as much as you want to use it effectively, and it looks like they're trying to position down towards bot lane to do something with it, it doesn't really matter too much if you don't get that utilization out of the package.
And now that Rework Corki's been around for, you know, a good year, at least, maybe even longer than that, people have really started to realize, oh, that big siren that sounds when the package is picked up, we should probably not make a play when that's going on. We should defend against any plays that can be made, and oh, dear Lord, he's going to get spotted.
He goes.
Patient.
Lulu.
Oh, the hook!
Box! Dead! Lulu. Kaime takes him out.
All too easy. just when you're warding alone. They thought Sebex was enough to keep him alive. Tabasco wasn't there. Ooh, Chains of Corruption will catch Sprattle, but that's not enough. And now they look for the play on bot side. Woolite, you cannot defend this on your own. Yes, you've got Tabasco, but... Ooh,
no Chain of Corruption.
This is tempting for PSG to just curtain call here.
It's very tempting. Corki's on his way down as well. They're going to look for it. Tabasco dodges the hook, lands onto Kyrie. Syndra's Sebex is trying to get round, but PSG have called it off. They don't want to go for it.
Yeah, it's taking too long for PSG to get that. That's the problem. There was no package available. Sebex was roaming down. Delord had respawned as well. After, you know, a bit of a bang in the top lane to start this game off, White Knight hasn't really found too much more.
Doesn't really, like, you don't expect him to. Yeah, he's against the Maokai. He's playing tank Gragas with a Spirit Visage. Not really going to get too much out of that. He's 20 CS up. Give the guy a break.
I am giving him a break.
It's his second game in the EU Challenger Series, Stress.
I want to see a TP play, explosive cast come out.
The problem is, the TP plays from PSG are when the opponent has burnt their TP, because we saw it in the last game. They know when they can utilize these windows. Icebeasto hasn't had to burn his TP in a long, long time.
That's fair.
So it doesn't really set it up. If perhaps Kaibe goes up towards top, they get some damage down onto Icebeasto, force him to back and then TP into the lane, that's when we'll see PSG making the play.
Kinguin may be looking to set one up for themselves. Look at where Tabasco is. I also saw Icebeasto drop back in the jungle, sorry, in the top lane, just looking to see whether he can TP into lane, but has traded again up into the minion lane.
PSG seem pretty happy to just slowly extend this gold lead, continuing pushing forward, getting vision control. They're now 1,500 ahead. Haven't really had that snowball or rocket away yet. Got themselves a Cloud Drake, but Blank building up towards Trinity Force still. Almost got the Phage. Going to be collecting those items. There's a Yumu's on Pilot. On the other side, though, Woolite already has his Yumu's and a Tear stacking up. There's a Morello Nomicon for Sebex. He's building up towards... It could be an Abyssal Scepter, although we do see a lot of people sitting on the Negatron Cloak alone and then building away from it. So he's got parts of an Abyssal Scepter, but it's not guaranteed to be one.
Oh, Blank's so close to having Trinity Force, but the back timing didn't line up. You can see the waves aren't there in mid lane, so Blank would have had to have waited around for a long time if he wanted to get that.
That final 333
well,
gold.
He's already got like 250.
Oh,
but
80 gold.
Yeah, maybe in solo queue
in solo queue, I just like type at team, get a turret, please. I need 80 gold.
No, you just ping in the shop on
can't
Trinity
purchase,
Force,
can't purchase,
so that it's
purchase,
just telling them that you're waiting 85 gold.
That's a long time to wait. And I'm sure Kinguin would have been able to react to it, but Blank realizing he can't quite wait that long. Although PSG seem happy with being patient and playing that waiting game.
Ooh. Quick moves thanks to that Cloud Drake for Sprattle.
And the Moby Boots as well. We do see a lot of Threshers going for this. Sprattle really needs to utilize the Moby Boots, because the risk with Thresh is if you get Moby Boots early on and don't start to roam and get those ganks off, they don't give you anything, and you invested a lot of gold into it rather than starting to build up towards perhaps your Redemption or perhaps your Locket of the Iron Solari.
Yeah, that's fair. It allows him to kind of stick around with Kyrie for the majority of warding. That was a nice piercing arrow.
Risk of Moby Boots as well. Don't have any more tanky stats.
Kinguin, have to be careful. They know Kyrie's there. It's been a lot slower pace game. By this point, PSG were basically looking like they were starting to wrap the game up. It was around about this time, maybe a couple of minutes later, that they caught Tabasco.
Yeah. 22 minutes, I think that Baron was. So, yeah, it was a lot quicker in that game. White Knight still ahead in the top lane. But PSG will be happy to play this. Kinguin also don't really mind getting towards that late game. We haven't seen Tabasco really have a huge amount of impact since that kill they got in the mid lane. Blank does manage to sidestep at the end there, and it's still vision control just being fought for around this river, and we talk about it time and time again. Knowing where the enemy jungler is, gaining vision around that Dragon Pit is vital if you want to win games at this level. Icebeasto starting to take a bit of harass from White Knight, but still, even with the Barmies ticking, it's the fire damage.
PSG right now needs something to extend their lead, and Kinguin are looking to make a play on bot side for bot tower.
Pilot's backed away already, so Kinguin know that this is pretty safe. This is going to be first turret going down.
Yeah.
PSG unable to react.
This has been a hard-fought turret. 20 minutes of pushing, very extended laning phase out from Kinguin to get that first tower. I'm actually a little surprised that PSG didn't pull the lane swap that we've seen a few times, where you're already losing bot tower, so you consciously changed Jhin up to the top side with Thresh. You had Corki as well, so could have made a 4 versus 1 play under the tower. But PSG just opting to kind of lose their tower with no real response.
And it equalizes the gold as well. Only 400 the difference between these two teams.
PSG need to react quickly here, because look where Kinguin is sending Jhin. Sending Jhin to the mid lane, trying to catch out Blank, trying to get anything they can here.
Well, and D-Lord will come mid, and they can just force Blank back with these piercing arrows.
And this is a tough spot for PSG to be in, because without Sprattel landing a hook on someone, starting out at a small skirmish, they've not got too many options.
Well, we talked about the fact that it seems to be a pick composition. If you can't make the picks, if your enemy team has help from picks in the form of Lulu.
Hey, they got Rift Scuttler.
Ah, well, nicely done. Deadly Flourish gets it.
Yeah.
I thought you were A-ing at my pun.
No, oh, no, sorry, I was... They finally landed a hook, and it... Oh, I guess they landed one on Lulu. That's not bad.
But, yeah, PSG seem to be playing just a lot slower than we're used to them. It's kind of like the start of the last game when they were able to force the enemy into a bad decision, they're able to capitalize. But if they're not, they don't seem to have the decision-making. They don't seem to have the impetus to pull that trigger.
And to some extent, it does benefit PSG to be playing for later. Corki has insane damage the later we go. Jin's damage is decent, as I think everybody has seen that in team fights. He can put out significant amounts of damage with that curtain call, and just with those big crits.
Itemization differences here between the supports as well. D-Lord is building up towards his redemption, whereas we see Sprattel instead going Eye of the Equinox to get more wards out quicker.
Yeah, we don't see a whole lot of Eye of the Equinox on most supports. It's only really like Soraka that we see it on, and Thresh seemingly from Sprattel. Finally, PSG are trying to get top tower.
That they are not quite going to get it. They're going for Ice Beasto, though. Sprattel will play him back. The dragon goes down, but Ice Beasto will fall in the top lane. They get the tower as well. Actually, see, was it a Mountain Drake or an Ocean Drake that went down there? Wasn't quite sure which one it was.
It was a...
Cloud.
Cloud that they ended up.
So it's Cloud for Cloud thus far, but mid lane tower's going to go down for Kinguin. Perhaps a collapse here coming out from PSG. Tabasco takes one shot at the curtain call. Gragas coming in. White Knight looking to jump on towards the Syndra, flashes away. And now PSG won't be able to engage. Tabasco's going to jump the wall. White Knight's going to try and chase him down.
But now PSG go towards mid lane. They're so healthy that they can continue this push. And if Woolite sticks around here, White Knight can sneak around the side of Woolite and get that explosive cask to land. He still has it.
Flash, play, hook, Woolite caught out. Don't flash in a line, man. Woolite gonna get taken down. PSG collapse TP in though. And now White Knight and Pilot need to try and get away. Ice Beasto jumps onto Pilot. D-Lord there helping out as well. Here comes Tabasco, explosive pass, knocks Ice Beasto back. He's been hooked up and he's being kept away from the AD carry. PSG collapse and pick up another kill.
And look where they're turning.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it, man. No, they're not
okay,
going to
no, they're not. Okay.
Not going to do it.
Tabasco is in mid lane. It means they actually might end up losing this if they're not too careful. White Knight comes out, will clear it through, but that fight, White Knight held his explosive cask for the entire duration of the fight. Only at the end did he use it. Sprattel now looking for the hook, gets Tabasco.
Tabasco. If it had been Sebex, I think they go in. It wasn't, so they don't. Sprattel dodges the Sonic Wave as well. No minions quite yet here, but I think this tower's just going to go down because White Knight is backing. Knocked back. Kyrie tries to come in from the side to stop it as well. Hook doesn't quite land onto Sebex, and they will clear out the wave, but well, the next wave is a long, long way away, so they should be okay. Sidewave's pushing against them, though. Bot lane is definitely pushing into PSG.
And Blanc is there as well, so we'll be able to hold that tower. So this is the exchange. Beautiful flash into the hook from Sprattel. Is able to pick it up.
So I was wondering why Pilot was so out of position. He steps forward to take the lantern, and it's taken by Kyrie, who takes it away. So Pilot here, very lucky to survive, because Ice Beasto's hooked away by Sprattel. Great play by the support, but miscommunication amongst the rest of PSG.
Clicking the lantern.
Well, yeah, usually people don't do it, and this time 2 people wanted to do it at the same time.
Everybody wanted to take the Thresh Express at that point. We did see, during that replay, the mid tower actually did fall.
Oh, it looked like it was going to go down.
Woolite pushed up and got it. It was like 1 hit at that point. So, easy pick off. Redemption's been finished for Dilord, so we'll see how that affects some of these fights where they're a little extended and there's, like, Ice Beastow's taking a long time to kill.
Battle deciding he doesn't want a Redemption, instead going for the Aegis of the Legion. Probably going to get that up into the Locket next.
Banner was game 1. Is that what he's doing? Is he going for the I think they can't play macro?
I can understand the Banner because Varus is you know, he's going to push out 1 lane, and then Syndra can't really deal into a bannered up minion, although you can pick it up and throw it around. Yeah,
it's kind of for the same reason, though, as game 1, where 2 magic damage threats to clear through on the side lanes. But PSG are getting stalled again.
Not quite able to get into the gear that they want. White Knight's extended his gold lead in the top lane to 60. CS lead, sorry, to 60. However, 30 CS lead in mid and AD carry for Kinguin. This game is extending bit by bit by bit. 2,000 gold lead for PSG, but it's not monumental at the moment. No massive advantages taken by either team. Tabasco, however, looking to change that as he collapses on towards Blank. This top lane tower is still there, even with 4 members. Blank should be able to Valkyrie away. Sonic Wave hits, there's the Valkyrie. Tabasco just pushing away that mid laner for PSG.
Yeah, Tabasco was hoping the Valkyrie would be used a little earlier. Oh, I don't actually like the straight out of Kinguin.
No, because you lose mid tower for this, which is...
And bot tower.
And this is going to take them a while to take down as well. They do eventually get it, but they lose mid lane, they lose bot lane tower, as you say. White Knight's going to go for that. And this is macro. You said, can Kinguin play the macro as well as PSG do? Well, they just lost 2 towers for 1.
Yeah, I don't like that trade out of Kinguin. I can see that it's one of the remaining objectives for them, so that they really want to try and get the last remaining ADA tower, but they just lost their entire ring of ADA towers for that. Not exactly the most beneficial trade. They were behind, so I guess any gold generation is nice, but still, the lead for PSG just increased.
Only ever so slightly, though. It's gone from 2,000 to 3,000. It's still not a colossal lead in any regards of the word, but PSG still ahead, and we've shown that when they're ahead at the 30-35 minute mark, they tend to win out the game, although it's only happened a couple of times. They're now setting up a bait push once again. We've seen this happen before. Deny vision. Kaime goes in onto Woolite, snipes him away. Ooh. He's dead. D-Lord now the target of the curtain call. Teleport coming in as well by White Knight. D-Lord takes up 1. The hook doesn't land onto Tabasco, and PSG. This is the Baron call. Tabasco can steal. Tabasco can steal PSG. Don't do it. You haven't killed the enemy's jungler.
It could just be the bait, though. Look at it. 1 blue trinket remains. Tabasco's gone off the top.
It's PSG. It's not a bait. It's PSG.
They're feeling very confident
Tabasco's
after game
there.
1.
Oh,
No,
they've backed away. They've turned straight away. And he's by himself in the back line. The rest of PSG went one way, and Pilot was just on an entirely different plane to the rest of Paris Saint-Germain.
Oh, that is just the same mistake PSG made in previous weeks. We thought that they had fixed it.
It was a bait, but it was for themselves.
Why was Pilot going one way when the team were going the other? That's what I want to know.
I agree with you there. Kinguin getting vision around this mid lane.
PSG need to back off. They do not have their AD carry available. And Woolite is back out on the Rift. This is not a position that they can hold.
The reason they're there, though, is there's an Infernal Drake up, and they don't want to give it up without a fight. However, now with Battle using the Lantern back, I think
they had to concede it.
They just recede away. They've conceded it, and this will be Kinguin taking their 2nd dragon of the game. Still 3,000 gold the difference, but Kinguin get themselves an Infernal.
And now Blank is crossing a lot of wards heading up past that Baron. He is, I think, killing the Scuttle Crab by the looks of it.
PSG just need to do what Fnatic had to do. Take a moment, take a breath.
Yeah.
Just be like, look, guys, we're still ahead. We still have great lanes. Ice Beastow's going to check straight into Kaime here. Maokai's pretty darn tanky. He's going to try and blast cone his way, but Kaime will follow him. And actually, with the isolation damage here, Kaime can take him out. No one from Kinguin's nearby. The knockback from Ice Beastow will slow the Kha'Zix in its tracks.
And Kairi didn't have vision on the bot side, so couldn't know there was nobody else to help. Again, we get slowed down in this game. The rest of PSG now moving up for Baron control on the vision. They've got White Knight on the bot lane with no teleport, so he needs to recall out soon. PSG have that package available from Blanc. Maybe going to try and punish Sebex, but Sebex has Flash, Exhaust, Ultimate, everything up.
Just having a look across the table, I'm pretty sure if PSG draw this, they are mathematically out of playoff contention. Because even if they win next week, Fnatic and Kinguin face up against each other, and that would get themselves, whoever loses that would come into second last, and PSG would be with them as well. We'll make sure to get that checked out, but Kairei's getting taken out here by Tabasco, has to jump away. Tabasco flashes, White Knight straight in, knocks D-Lord back. Woolite catches Kairei off towards the side, and he'll take him down as well. Ice Beasto takes the brunt of the belly. Sebex takes the brunt of the Curtain Call. 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot, Woolite low. And now the Deadly Flourish doesn't quite connect. Ice Beasto trying to tank up all of PSG. Tabasco around the corner trying to help out his mate. He just can't do it. Another hook from Straddle. Flash away by Ice Beasto. Pilot now chasing the tree down the barrel. Doesn't get the slower. And PSG aren't able to get the kills.
PSG couldn't get the kills. Pilot was a little blinded by his attempt to kill Woolite or Sebex, but he got them so low in that exchange that they dropped very, very far away from that fight. Kinguin struggling against White Knight's involvement in this fight. White Knight had recalled and was there for the fight, and they burned Ice Beasto's teleport on that exchange. So soon they have full control. Sprelstead.
Yeah, it's not where you want to be, really. Not even Unleash Power there from Sebex, just takes him out.
And Kinguin are going to go for the Baron.
There's no Curtain Call for Pilot. There's an explosive cast for White Knight. Kairei has the Void Assault. Woolite, they're just clearing out vision on it for now. Ice Beasto has started it up. 2 long-range totems
there's
on the side of PSG. There's a lot of poke. Pilot catches Woolite as well. White Knight might look for the explosive cast. All 5 members of Kinguin in that Baron pit. Now they're back away, but look at the big one. Ice Beasto and Tabasco realizing they cannot stay around.
Kairei may just jump in on this.
Deadly Flourish not connecting. Kairei needs to be cautious though. There's still an Unleash Power, there's still an Exhaust on D-Lord. PSG will take mid priority instead.
Yeah, this is a much better decision. Not going for the kills, looking for the towers. PSG want to try and extend their lead on this game. They're the first team to crack an inner tower with 32 minutes into this game.
Mid-inner tower is exactly what you want as well. It opens up so much of the map. However, the lanes are pushing in favor of Kinguin, which will allow them the chance to respond, whether it be with vision control or whether it be with their own mid-lane push.
This has been a very different game to the 3 we've seen previous today, where PSG, we can see the struggles of playing a pick-oriented composition, where you really don't have a lot of targets unless this Thresh lands a hook on somebody that's completely out on their open.
As well, though, Pilot's gone down this full lethality build, which works so well into 4 of the 5 members of Kinguin, maybe 3 if you take Tabasco out, but into Ice Beasto, who continuously is the man just standing right in the front line, right in front of all of PSG. It doesn't do enough damage. Lethality is great into squishies. It's not so good into people who can just build pure armor.
And that's why we see Blanc going for the 3-item build on Corki. Maybe we'll see extra penetration coming later. That was D-Lord getting caught out. So this fight was a tough one, because look at how Pilot, look at the damage he does to Sebex and Woolite throughout this entirety of this fight. It's actually White Knight's cask that does most of the damage. I think they both walked over it. Pilot is kiting down here. Instead of trying to come up and assist the rest of his team, he's trying to chase for kills. You're talking about the lethality build. I like the Duskblade, actually. When you're playing a pick composition, it's so important to maintain vision control and reduce as much vision as you can. So in that aspect, I like Duskblade, but I completely agree with you that against a Maokai, good luck having any kind of impact when you have to auto him.
I don't know, the 204 true damage. All that extra damage.
A lot of damage.
Maokai isn't usually the one who you pick off first.
Exactly, and that's the other thing, is with a build like this and a focus like this for PSG, their main priority is not killing Maokai. Like, they will ignore him, and if they can kill all 4 other people from Kinguin, it should be easy to close out team fights.
That it should. White Knight still got that massive CS lead over his lane opponent, 60. Mid lane is pretty even, bot lane is pretty even as well. Have seen that Locket of the Isolari completed onto Sprattle. He does seem to be building.
It wasn't the banner.
Nah, does seem to be building up towards the redemption as well, doing this perhaps slightly out of order or in a different order to usual. Could, of course, still be a righteous glory, but I doubt it. I doubt it indeed.
Could be.
Better pick, because you just run at them, man.
Yeah.
You don't need to pick someone if you can just sprint at them.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
Kyrie sees it. Kyrie sees the ward.
Now they do.
Clear it. Clear that. Oh,
yeah, they saw it.
They
saw it.
Oh, of course. Fine. Thank you.
Ooh.
So there's...
Oh, this is tense.
It always seems a little bit odd when people leave wards up in the back of the pit when they put a control ward down, but the reason you do that is if you clear it, they gain vision of you.
Yep.
If you don't, they don't have vision of you or of the Baron.
So you could still be doing the Baron.
Yeah.
But
they just wouldn't know.
There was the blue trinket that was used, so PSG now move away. They know to some extent that Tabasco is separated. That was good damage that came from Warlight.
We've seen a lot of Varus damage these, especially against people like Kyrie, who's built so aggressively early on. Warriors, Enchant, Black, Cleaver, Edge of Night. Oh, Tabasco exhaust down, but he's just going to jump his way away.
As a Guardian Angel.
That's the exhaust, but they're going for the Baron. Safeguard up. Maokai's all the way down towards the bot side. Beasto does have TP. There's no Syndra. Sebex is nowhere near this. They hook D-Lord. He's going to not quite go down yet as he wild growths. White Knight now needs to be the front line. Ice Beasto knocked back. PSG deciding if they want to re-engage. Sebex finally joins the fight. White Knight's still there. The hook onto Ice Beasto. Sebex flash away by White Knight. Redemption in by Kinguin as well.
Please
PSG
stop doing Baron, PSG.
Why, man? Baron's the best.
They've picked themselves into a difficult composition to execute. Oh, they're going to try and hook over. Are they? Is that what's happening here? Are they going to try and do the Baron while Kinguin are on the bot side doing Elder?
Got the wave pushing in.
I
think they now realize that perhaps that's not the smartest.
Now there's seven. Hang on, no. PSG just kind of messed up here. If Kinguin collapse.
Turret falls in the top lane because of a massive minion wave. Tabasco can't land the Sonic wave. And PSG just back away.
So they back away and nearly made a mistake for PSG. This is it's been a very tense game.
It's just always been on a knife edge. It's always felt like if one team gets a fight, they can win it out. I thought early on White Knight would be able to utilize this advantage a little bit more, but he's always playing into a Maokai, which is very difficult. No, neither of these teams have a team that can entirely snowball from getting one kill. You need a couple of kills to allow your team to snowball.
And it's been so difficult for PSG to find them. Like, Kinguin, for the most part, have played well around it.
They're going to do it.
They saw Ice Beasto bot.
Have they seen the other? Have they seen the other ward? They're going to go for it. There we go. They've started it up. Tabasco around the corner. Blank going in as well with the Valkyrie. Now Pilot. The rest of Kinguin are going to collapse on this, but the Baron is low. PSG getting sniped away. Kyrie dead. The Baron goes down. White Knight gets it, but PSG are getting destroyed, decimated, melted away in the pit. PSG get out with only 2 members. 1 member left alive. It's only White Knight, and now he has to defend versus 5 members of Kinguin.
1 member left with the Baron. That was the play PSG did not want to make. Why are you trying to rush down the Baron again and again and again? And again, it fails for them. PSG, they get the Baron, but they're going to lose a lot from this.
We thought PSG's late game shot calling may have improved. It obviously has not. After that debacle, Kinguin collapsed perfectly. They'll get mid lane in hip. They won't be able to push any further. PSG have 1 Baron, which is just not enough. And actually looks like Kinguin are going to go straight to Elder Drake here as well for that Infernal double buff.
White Knight cannot die while this Baron buff is still active. They need to get more from it. And PSG are looking to close in on Elder Drake.
Going to be gone by the time they get there.
6,000 health.
White Knight comes in, redemption used, but that is just the Baron, the Elder Drake going down. Kudakul comes up looking for the snipe on Sebex. They get 1. Warlight caught out as well. Kyrie will take him out.
Combo.
They're going to combo. D-Lord is dead off towards the side as well, and now they're looking for Ice Beasto. He dodges the hook by the narrowest of margins, and Blank might be able to get there. Flash, exhaust, Blank. He's getting minions. The rest of your team is chasing Ice Beasto.
No, he's pushing mid lane so that after they get the kill.
Ice Beasto's going to go down as well into the GA. It's the game of throws, Stress. It's the game of throws.
And PSG, they had to push mid lane back out. They had to get this wave as far forward as possible to equalize the inhibitor trade. Tabasco's the only one alive, and why are you trying to go in 1 versus 5?
Shame
trying
Bell.
to slow him down.
We need a Shame Bell stress. Don't go for objectives. Get that Shame Bell out. Tabasco hooked up. He's going to die as well. 9 seconds on D-Lord, 13 on Sebex. Tabasco, oh, the hook doesn't quite connect. Blank, even through the redemption, can take him down, and now PSG continue to push in. 30 seconds on Ice Beasto. PSG are looking for the win. However, Woolite's back up as is Sebex. These turrets are going to fall incredibly quickly. I think PSG are going to call it a day after one Nexus Tower, though.
They're very
Sebex
low, though.
Wants to stop them. Sprassel with the Locket Shield, tries to keep himself alive. Woolite looking for the snipe. Just needs a piercing arrow straight to the heart of Sprassel and straight to the heart of PSG. They get one Nexus Towers, they're gonna have to get themselves out. Look at the waves pushing in for Kinguin.
PSG back out with the Empowered Recall only on White Knight. The rest of the team have to run it back down mid. They equalize the inhibitor trade. They're gonna lose a top tower by the looks of that wave. I don't think White Knight can get there in time. Yeah, there it goes. Ice Beasto just TP'd in to try and stop Kirei. They want to try and get bot lane, but I don't know whether that's actually going to end up worth it. Kirei can cut half of the minion wave out. They'll get bot tower, but they won't push in for the inhibitor. They're just too strong on the side of PSG.
Redemption finish now for Ice Beasto as well. Look at the gold. It's only 3,000. We're 41 minutes into this game, and there's only a 3,000 gold disparity. It's a game of playing around objectives and getting them and then losing the fight.
Yeah, look, this is Kinguin sticking around with too many people on low health. They underestimated the amount of time it would take to actually kill that Elder Drake, and this was where Blanc was pushing mid lane through, make sure they can move through after this play. Ice Beasto takes a long time to die, but they get his GA, they get everything from this, and PSG, from what should have been a game-losing move on Baron and trying to rush it down, have actually stabilized in an okay manner. They caught Sebex!
Deadly Flourish knocked away. Sebex into the Zhonya's. Tabasco's here as well, trying to save the day. Sebex flashes away. Unleash power onto Kirei. Sebex somehow survives. Tabasco will not, though. Kairei's going to get taken off towards the side. He jumps back away. White Knight getting knocked around. Spaddle's dead. Here's Blanc. He's flashed in. He's exhausted, though. And PSG lose 2 members. The chase is going to continue as Ice Beasto looks for it, but cannot get anywhere near close enough to get onto White Knight.
That all started from a hook on Sebex, and Sebex lived through that engage, had the Zhonya's available. This has become incredibly messy. It went from having no action for the majority of the game into complete mindlessness.
It's the game
so
2
far.
curse of today.
Oh, this game, as you said, very much like game 2 between Fnatic Academy and Misfits Academy, where there is no logic in so many of these plays.
Is this NALCS? Because this is counter-logic gaming stress.
Good save on that one. I was wondering where you were going, because look, PSG start out with a play onto Sebex. Great hook. They knock him back out of the lockdown from Jhin, and through the Zhonya's, the redemption, the Lulu ult, everything keeps Sebex alive. And what I want to know is, what is Blanc looking for here? He's looking to Q and then get a Gatling gun and a massive auto to kill Sebex, but gets exhausted, did not have a read that Sebex still had his exhaust, and you know, good survival instincts out of Sebex in that fight to spot him flashing on top of him. But next time that happens, Sebex doesn't have his flash, doesn't have his exhaust, and PSG shouldn't have anything to stop them.
Some of the comparisons, White Knight has both, Kirei almost has his flash back up, Pilot has everything, Spartel has everything. Only Tabasco with that flash. Oh, Woolite's got his as well, as has Ice Beasto. But across the board, PSG in a slightly stronger position to fight soon. Rev Inhibitor has respawned in that mid lane, which means there's a minor window where PSG have supers pushing in, and Kinguin do not. However, it's an ARAM now, Stress.
Aaron, it's not an ARAM. It's all about that Baron. 1 minute until PSG get another attempt to try and start a Baron when they really shouldn't. White Knight, if he can find Woolite, if he can body slam flash in and get Woolite with the explosive cask, that ends the fight. The
poke damage coming out from PSG is pretty monumental as well, although piercing arrows do answer back. If you're wondering why the Lee Sin's model looks a little bit bigger than usual, he's got himself an elixir of iron. I think it's just run out. But he's just ever so slightly bigger boxer than he usually is.
He's got to get that the path.
I think it's run out now.
Goes behind him. Yeah, I was looking to see. Couldn't remember what
it looks big for a while. Not quite as big anymore. But PSG trying to make the big plays. 3,000 gold ahead still 45 minutes into this game. They've got both the waves pushing in their advantage. Bot lane is going to take a little bit of time, but Baron is the call. Icebeasto doesn't quite have TP up, but is running up towards that top side. PSG have complete vision control around that Baron pit.
Please, PSG, do not.
They're doing it, man.
Start
Pilot's half health, and they're going to do it.
White Knight's.
Why not?
Okay, so what White Knight's doing here is he's sitting on the side of the entrance, so that if Woolite comes forward to start poking, he can cask him into the rest of the team and Woolite dies. He's looking for it, but Icebeasto checks first. Good due diligence there.
Icebeasto does check it up. PSG still 4 members off to one side, 1 on the other. Kinguin can just push mid. They've got a wave going in. Oh, Woolite!
He's got
Woolite! Explosive cast! Kyrie takes him out. Now Sebex the target as Kyrie jumps in. Kyrie survives as well with the shield. White Knight takes the kill. A killing spree for him. And Kinguin are running for the hills. They need to escape because otherwise PSG can just push down. There's only 1 turret remaining in their way. Tabasco and D-Lord trying to delay. Icebeasto there as well. I think White Knight can just tank it up though, and I think that's PSG's mindset as well.
Yeah, I think it's the same kind of thing. They got 280 carries worth of damage on towers. PSG, they're going to take their first series 2-0 here, Medic.
2-0 they will go. It will only be their 3rd win. Icebeasto and D-Lord trying to back. D-Lord gets it cancelled. PSG take the Nexus tower. They're going to turn their attention over to the Nexus, and PSG will go 2-0 up versus Team Kinguin.
It was a messy second game. Baron throws, team fight throws aplenty for both teams.
It was the messiest second game I think we've had in a long, long time. And PSG, we thought they'd learned their lesson, but Baron, it's like a siren calling to them, just being like, do me, do the Baron.
Please don't just run for the Baron at that point, PSG. However, for PSG, the playoff dream is still alive.
Still alive. And their first game was so clean and crisp. And you have to go back to it and say, if they play like that every single game, they were a contender for at least a spot in the promotion tournament.
Kinguin, on the other hand, I mean, they had so many exchanges where it looked like it could have gone their way. And now Kinguin find themselves in a position where, after a couple of wins earlier on in previous weeks, they might miss out on playoffs because of this.
Yeah, sitting at the bottom of the table at the moment on only 4 points. Millennium face up against Schalke, they're at 4 as well later on. So it's very, very tight in the standings at the moment. In fact, we might even get into next week with 4 teams on 4 points.
And 1 team on 12.
1 point on 12, 1 team on 12, 1 team on 5. That will be where we stand. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it so much. I think looking at Kinguin, where do you correct? What do you change for them actually to have a chance of getting through to those playoffs?
Draft was an issue in game 1, and then game 2, just a couple of minor things early on. They actually punished fairly well with Woolite being able to poke down around objectives, but they just let too much go early on. The decision to trade top for like 2 towers was another one of those moments where I'm like, Kinguin, this isn't the kind of trade that you want to take.
Well, it might not be the trade they want to take, but PSG will be very happy that they did. We're going to go on the hunt for more action between Millennium and Schalke 04. It'll probably take us about 3.5 minutes to seek out our prey. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, we got him!
Oh, that was beautiful. Lulu.
Oh, the hook.
Box. Dead. Lulu. Kaime takes him out.
As
Flash, play, hook. Woolite caught out. Don't flash in a line, man. Woolite gonna get taken down. PSG collapse. TP in though. And now Kaime's getting taken out here by Tabasco. Has to jump away. Tabasco flashes. White Knight straight in. Knocks D-Lord back. Woolite catches Kaime off towards the side and he'll take him down as well. But the Baron is low. PSG getting sniped away. Kaime dead. The Baron goes down. White Knight gets it, but PSG are getting destroyed. Decimated. Melted away in the pit. PSG get out with only 2 members. 1 member left alive. It's only White Knight. And now he has to defend versus 5 members of Kinguin. Up looking for the snipe on Sebex. They get 1. Woolite caught out as well. Kaime will take him out.
Combo.
They're going to combo. D-Lord is dead. Off towards the side as well. And now they're looking for Icebeasto. He dodges the hook. The wave going in. Oh, Woolite. He's got engaged on. Explosive cast. Kaime takes him out. Now Sebex the target as Kaime jumps in. Kaime survives as well with the shield. White Knight takes the kill. A killing spree for him. And Kinguin are running for the hills. They need to escape because otherwise PSG can just push down. PSG will go 2-0 up versus Team Kinguin.